I started 30 years ago, and it's hard to believe that. And I'm looking back on it. It's like nobody told me about algorithms and understanding. We didn't even know what social networking was. We figured social networking was going to the bar and hitting on people. You know,
What's up, everybody? It is Keefy from GhostColdMan.com. I am so honored today, and I mean that, to talk to Waylon Reavis of A Killer's Confession. How are you doing, sir?
I am great, man. Thank you for having me. We've kind of had our bumping heads trying to make this time work, and it's finally here. So it's great.
Yes.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for being patient with me.
Well, right back at you, pal. And shout out to Tori over at Atomsplitter PR for putting us together. Always a pleasure. We worked with them for many years, and Tori's fantastic. And you've been patient with us too. It's been a scheduling nightmare a little bit, but here we are. We're on the eve of the new album. Victim One is coming out on Monarch Heavy, the excellent Monarch Heavy. People know the label. They have a ton
Yes.
of great bands: Crowbar, Ace Frehley, Black Label Society, a very eclectic label within the ruins, like extreme metal, cool, heavy rock, Zach, like all the
And then
things.
us.
And then you guys. Well, I mean, you
Well,
kind
that's
of
the
built
thing.
this.
It's a great label, and I'm looking at the roster, and I'm like, wow. I'm like looking left and right at the roster, and the roster is so amazing. I'm like, wow. And then they have us, and
Well,
and they're such a great label. They're great to work with. They're so professional, and it's just you know. I can't. I have nothing bad. Everybody's like, "What's it like being on the with them?" Because I've had bad, label deals and stuff. And I have nothing bad to say. Like Monarch has just been amazing to us.
that's great to hear. And it is a difficult time in the music industry, as we were discussing right before we started recording. You are sending out shirts all right behind you in your living room there,
Yeah.
and vinyl and CDs, and I'm sure, pre-order bundles and the whole nine yards. Plus, you're getting ready for a tour. Plus, the record's about to come out. You're doing a lot of press. Just wild, wild times. And it's a lot of work. We were just saying, like, it used to be just show up and be in a band, and that was enough. And now you have to kind of be your own little cottage industry all by yourself, even with a label supporting you as good as Monarch.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's just a different beast now, with streaming and everything. And it's like nobody told me when I got into music, and it's hard to believe it's been 30. I started 30 years ago, and it's hard to believe that. And I'm looking back on it. It's like nobody told me about algorithms and understanding. We didn't even know what social networking was. We figured social networking was going to the bar and hitting on people. That was the closest thing to social networking, and going out and giving out flyers, and you'd go to shows and you'd have mixtapes and CDs and stuff, and you just give them out just to try to get your sound out throughout the scene. And that doesn't even exist now. And honestly, I think that is a better way to do it. Like, I mean, I love technology, but there was something about the way that was done back in the day. It was a community, and now it's just like you have your clicks it's like your podcasters and stuff like that. And it's all here, and it's not in person. So I feel a disconnect with how things are done now, but I still try to keep it old school. I think it's fun.
Right on. And I don't think one thing that has not changed is you need to get out in front of the fans. You are a tireless tour person. I know your last record came out right at the worst time ever in the year in the world, in 2021, and so it's refreshing that, like, it seems like we're back to a sense of normalcy. I know that some tours and some things are struggling. The industry is on thin ground in terms of tech people and tour buses and tour bus drivers and cost of fuel, but you seem like you're ready to, like, really ramp it up and get out there on the road with this huge tour to support this new album.
Well, it really depends on a lot, and I understand needing a bus. I mean, we could get a bus if we wanted to, but when I started AKC, I have 3 children that go to college, and like I'm not about like overspending out on the road. And if we can do it, there's nothing wrong ever to put a hard day's work in it. So I mean, not only am I the singer of the band, I'm a crew guy and I'm a bus driver. I'm wearing a lot of hats, and it's because I'm trying to cut costs, because 3 tuition bills is no joke. And and God bless my kids. They're so smart, and thank God they got scholarships, but we still have to pay for a lot for them for college. So Julie and I, really look at it like, what can we cut, expenses? It's like, yeah, it would be nice to have this person to do this, but do I really need it? It's like I can go and lift my own case and carry it to my trailer. And we bought a Sprinter van and we converted the whole thing. So instead of paying all the money for the bus, I'm paying a one note a month, and I've already gutted it, pretty much made it a bus. I got 7 bunks, and you could see it's online. You can see my bus online, but I could get a full tour bus or a bandwagon. I'm choosing not to spend the money. I'm choosing to put it in my bandmates' pockets and in my children's pockets. That's where I'm at with it.
Super mom and dad right there. Shout out to all the moms and dads putting their kids through school and helping with that, man. That's the next generation of just humans, aside from being in music and heavy music, and that's important for us on our little culture. But it's the regular society doesn't function if we don't have
Without
opportunities.
They're the future. It's like when I get Alzheimer's from all the stupid decisions I made back in the day, somebody's gonna have to take care of me.
That is hilarious, but also like I hope not. Really. You seem pretty fit and very. I love your PMA. You got a lot. You always had a great energy when I met you in person. I love how down to earth you are, and you seem extremely bright and cheery, which is important. Like you meet a lot of people who are just like my music is evil and so am I. It's like no, you're a good dude. You're just having fun out here.
Somebody asked me that the other day, and it's a great because I love saying this. It's like I'm not negative because I take all of my negativity and I put it into my music and I make it and I have an outlet and I have that. I don't harbor any bad in me. It's like I get it out and I have to go into that mindset, and I plug in and I leave it on the stage. I come off just a smile. And my favorite thing is like I'll go up on stage, and some nights I'm really aggressive. Some nights I might be funny. I might just have some jokes to tell. But most time I'm aggressive, being that it's character based. And I'll get off stage and then I come off, and I can't help it. I talk like this, and I do not speak like this on stage. And everybody's like, "You're shitting me, right? Like you're not the same guy." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me, dude." But I find it fun because I feel like a lot of people harbor stuff, and like you said, it's like my music's evil and dark, and so am I. It's like, no, we're not. We're just expressing something, and I use it as therapy, and it's been the greatest therapy in my life, is being able to take these feelings and take these thoughts, and whether I'm asking a question or making a statement, I'm able to put it out there, but I don't carry it in my everyday life. And I try to have that disposition of being very positive and like being uplifting, because everybody's like, well, how do you be inspirational? Be positive. You want to inspire somebody, be positive, because a positive message and a positive person will uplift somebody to be positive too. You know, it's just contagious, and I love it. It's like I like to walk around with a smile. Who wants to sit there all day? You sucks. Nobody wants to do that.
I mean, have you been on Reddit, dude? Some people are just full of anger and rage for no reason. They're just mad,
What
waiting to
is
be mad and stuff.
People talk about Reddit? Like talk to me about Reddit. What is Reddit? I
So
don't. I
Reddit's Yeah, Reddit's just a social network. It's kind of like replaced Quora. People just go there to, there's fan groups, there's communities, and it's meant to be like it's a good place to get knowledge. It's,
oh,
Wikipedia. If anybody can edit it, I don't know how accurate it is. I like Wikipedia. I have a Wikipedia opened on you. I don't know how accurate it is, but I popped it open just to have some things handy, like
I have a
album
Wikipedia.
releases. You personally have a Wikipedia page.
Wow.
That's not our brand. I think that's what Loudwire does with people. But like, yeah. But at the same time, Reddit's fun. It's there's a bunch of similar type of things, Discord and things like that. Just communities for people to gather and share information and fandom. And sometimes it's accurate and informative, and sometimes it's just hateful and it's crazy. But
Honestly, I'm off
yeah,
all social media. Like I'll watch a little bit of TikTok, and I try to limit myself, because I feel like my attention span drops the more I watch it, because I'm like I get to that 30-second buzz where I'm like I got to go to something else, go to something else. But when it comes to like Facebook and X and YouTube and all that, like YouTube, I'll watch like documentaries on YouTube that are hour or so long. But when it comes to like real social media, where I'm like watching somebody complain in their feed 24/7, I won't do it. I won't sign in. I like Julie and my team. I have a team that runs our Facebooks and Instagrams and stuff like that. But I personally, the only time I get on it is when they're like, "We need you to go live. They need to hear from you." And I like to go live because it's like this and I can talk and then I can see people in live and talk to them and answer questions. But when it comes to sitting there and just being on Facebook and posting something negative and just like, because that's all I seen when I left was like, I'm off, I'm done. I can't do this no more. Cause I left in like 2017. I got off of social media completely. And I've looked at my wife and I said, you just get off of it, you'll be a whole lot happier. And she goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "You'll understand when you do it, and you go outside and you smell the roses. It's beautiful because like it really does like put a disconnect between everybody. It's like I've watched kids text each other across the room. And I'm like, you can't say hey, you can't say hey, you want to go get some pizza, you got to text that, and he's sitting there, you can't use your vocal cords, it's like you use the text message to do that. And like I just looked at Facebook one day and I was like, I'm done. I was like, there's nothing here for me. And I just went on my journey from there.
Fair enough. I work in the business, and I'm going to tell you, it's all going downhill slowly, unfortunately. But I want to touch on something you talked about earlier. You talked about when you're on stage and you inhabit a character, because I really feel like Victim One, you've always been really great at, bringing these stories to life in every song. But I feel like I'm not 100% sure if Victim One is a full concept album, but it feels like it is. And I
It
really
is.
feel like you really defined this story better than you ever have, I think, in your
Thank
whole
you.
career.
It is. It's not like a concept where it's chapter 1 through 10, and it's all laid out to you, and there's scenes laid out, and there's you can envision. It's not laid out like that. It's laid out in the mind, the killer, and it's called Victim One because there's one victim, and that would come in song 5, Purpose, and that's what happened. But now it's all in his head, and he might have a split personality. I kind of dive in there, and a lot of the vocals on Victim One are him having conversations with himself. So like I'm having to play two characters. I'm playing right and wrong, righteous and deviant, and like which one is in full control. And it was the hardest album I've ever wrote because the one thing I didn't want to happen was somebody listen to it and be like, this is cheesy. That was the first thing. Is like I didn't want that because like at first it was like, do I talk about going into somebody's bedroom and stabbing them and killing them? No, it's like how easy is that? Let's talk about like what's going on up here. Let's go into his mind and let's go in there and how he's dealing with it. Now we are going to do a song where it's like that, and it's the song Purpose, where we go after a predator, and that is the victim. Like he has this ability to like kind of sense your sins and like how bad you are. Like it's like me. Imagine meeting a person that could see every skeleton you had, and they were nuts, but they had the uncanny ability to know that you did this on such and such a day and you can't hide it from them, and they've lost it, and they're like, no, we got to get rid of you, you got to be out of this. That's the person we're dealing with now. Being that this is a concept, I'm moving into the next album right now, and that concept is continuing. Like we're going to move forward. This was the first part. We know who the character is. Now we're going to move on to the next. We're going to progress into the next, and then we're going to go into the third because I'm making it a trilogy. And then the third, it's going to have a result, and like what happened to him. What did he figure out? Where is he at now? And it's going to be a fun journey. And I just like it became bigger and bigger the more I tried to do it. And I'm really just like, wow, this is limitless, like where I could go with this. So I understand what it's like to be a writer, like for stories now. And now I'm just trying to put them into song.
Right on. Thanks for sharing that. I love hearing about that roadmap. That's super exciting. And despite the darkness that's all through this album, there's also some terrific melodies and like very catchy songs.
Thank you.
I love this. Yeah, of course. I love Voices with Aaron from Gemini Syndrome. We passed interviewee, and such a good combination of the two of you. And then, Martyr, or, The Rain and Greed are just such hooky songs, but also just
Thank
like
you for mentioning The
this.
Rain. That's like a personal
Yeah.
favorite. Like
Oh,
The
word. I love that
Rain.
one. Yeah.
The Rain, just like I love The Rain. I can't wait to play it live. But back to Aaron. Aaron was so fun. Like me and Aaron have been boys for years. Like I took Gemini out with Mushroomhead when they were first starting, and they were in a van and everything. And I remember watching them and being like, "You're gonna be something." And we became friends, and we stayed in contact. I love Aaron, and Aaron's gonna show up on my birthday, and he's gonna come for the CD release on the 20th, and I get to sing with him. But I come to Aaron, I was like, "How about this, Aaron? How about if you're the light and I'm the darkness in the mind, and we got to battle it out? We got to talk about like what's going on." And Aaron and I just started just bing, 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 and like it was so amazing to work with somebody who got it. He was like, "This is cool," like, and we start writing and just throwing it back and forth. And Aaron's so talented. Like I cannot tell you how talented that man is. I'd sing something and he'd sing something and then he'd harmonize with me and I'd harmonize with him. And it was just like, we got to stop. We can't have 100 stacks of me and you singing on top of each other, doing a full 100-person choir. Like he has that ability where we could have done that. And I feel like with voices that we kind of captured a little bit of that old school, like Alice in Chains, like that, Jerry Cantrell and Lane Staley type of vibe with the harmonies. And and personally, like I'm not dissing anybody. I can't think of the last time I've heard a band do it, do it like that, where you hear a big harmony between two guys that can really sing and just be like, oh my God. And when Aaron did that with me, I was like, this is cool. It was just one of them moments.
Right on. It's good to geek out on your own stuff. Happy early birthday to a fellow September baby.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
My birthday's on the 17th, so next week.
It's a funny little story. You're the 17th. Tommy Church from Mushroom is the 18th, and then I'm the 19th. So we go have us a block party.
Parents banged it out at New Year's, basically. All right. Anyway, who wants to think about their folks getting busy? I don't.
No.
No, horrifying. But speaking of horrifying, man, like I said, you're so upbeat and positive, and then these songs are so sinister. I know, back in the day, actors who used to do horror movies or very serious acting would then like go have a cry. Do you ever feel like very emotionally exhausted from the music you put out, or is it just you release it and you're good, you got your catharsis?
I've had certain songs that draw me to that point, and it is not that they're dark, so to say. It's the ones that there's really an emotional attachment where the message is so deep that if you don't have a heart, it wouldn't bother you. But like if you really knew where it was coming from, it takes that toll. And I have to go and just take a deep breath and be like, it's art, but there's a message there. And that's the point, because like, even though our stuff is darker lyrically, I'm not saying that we're a black metal band or anything like that, and like you expect, ghouls and goblins or whatever. We're dark lyrically, but the message that we're really going for is an uplifting one of like, you need to stop where you're at and figure out, it's like, hey, I'm doing wrong. I need to stop that. And we touch on subjects with predators and stuff like that, and that's a big subject for me is predators. I love children. I love the innocence of childhood, and how somebody could, and I find that to be a true monster, somebody that could prey on that. And song 5, again, the one victim, that one song, I don't know how I'm going to react the first time I sing it live, because it might get me, because I mean, it's such a deep message of like, we're not going to allow you to get away with it, and we're not going to allow you to go unpunished anymore. And those songs really, they take an emotional tie to me, but they take an emotional tie because I have the empathy for who I'm writing it for the people that have been the victim, to be like, we love you. We know what happened to you is wrong, and we love you. And that's what those songs were written for. I've just done it in a darker manner of being the boogeyman's boogeyman.
I dig it. Especially as a parent, I can't imagine anything more frightening than the fear of something happening to your children. And as much as we love horror and we love scary movies, I mean, like nothing is scarier than what human beings are capable of doing to each other. So yes. I always go back. As much as I love true crime and horror movies and serial killers, real life brings me back. I love The Walking Dead, but it's like how the people treat each other is a lot worse than getting ate by a zombie, actually.
Yes, it is. And that was the thing. It's like there is some reality in what the songs we've wrote on this album, Victim One. I think that's what really makes it dark, is there's a real reality to it, of like, this is the world we live in. Because like I said it before, and I'll say it again, this is a guy that kind of snapped up, and for one moment just didn't recognize the world he lived in anymore, because such atrocities were accepted. And by nature unacceptable, never can be accepted. These are things that should be cherished and precious and be held on high. And he feels at the same time that these people that have done these atrocities should be held just as accountable at the worst possible level. You know, it's like, hey, the only way we're going to deal with you is to teach a lesson for everybody that this will not be tolerated. So that's the real tricky part about victim one, is just being like, pull the trigger and stand by your conviction of saying this is not tolerable. And the more that people talk about, we're not going to tolerate this, maybe something will change in society where people will start standing up like, no, 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 you're not going to get away with this anymore. We're gonna make punishments more fitting of the crime, and they're going to be way worse. And like, for those who even think about doing them, you're going to be like, see what happens to these people, and then maybe you'll be like, no, I don't want nothing to do with that, and then we start seeing that cycle calm down.
We want to let justice be done correctly, but there is a thread through here that, there's a vigilante element to society that will come for you if you
Yes,
step
and
out too if you go too far out in the heinous world of actions. You will be clapped back on by actual good people just trying to defend the
the
defenseless.
sad part is those good people have to do terrible deeds, and that's the thing, is the killer in the story is a good person, and he got pushed to the point, or witnessed, and or however it came about, he witnessed, and he just like finally he's like, something has to be done, but he had to go to that level and become a sin himself to protect. And that's where martyr comes in, is like, I'm not ashamed of what I had to do because I did it to protect the innocent. It's like, I'm not ashamed of the blood on my hands. I'll be a martyr for the innocent. And he knows that, but that knowing that he now is a part of that, he knows he's just as guilty. And that's the twist. It's like he is having a hard time with that. And if you listen to the songs, you can hear it. He's just like, man, I'm just as guilty, because you hear eyes and me's, and just he knows that he's one of the sins. He committed murder.
I love how you inject yourself into the characters and bring them to life. And again, also probably some of your best vocal work here. I talked about
Thank
choruses
you.
and melodies, but also your grittiness, your heaviness is all on point. And none of the songs feel like too long. They feel like just the right amount of time. They're not like hanging around for progressive long lengths of time. It's like really tight and to the point. No fat on these songs. I dig it.
Well, that's the thing. If it's past 340, I'm getting boring. It's like it's got to be 340 and below, because I mean, you got to look at at society and where people's attention spans are. And some people are just absolutely, you know, they can't get past a minute 30. So you got to get it, and keep it short. And there's nothing wrong with a long song. I mean, I'm going to tell you that right now. But people just like, a lot is less and less and less, or somebody who's going to listen to that. They're like, nah, that's not for me. It's too long. You lost me at 240.
You're getting ready to head out. You got these record release shows, hometown shows, and then the Drowning Pool tour and other stuff, I think. And you always bring a fresh element visually. It's always you, but in a new way. So I'm sure this next tour is going to be crazy.
Oh, I got tons of things. Like, I'll just say this now. I'm gonna drop a bomb on the world. Like, things are coming that nobody is going to expect to happen, but they are. And I'll just say it here. It's like, just you pay attention between now and December. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, throwing down the gauntlet. I like it. I like it. Get people on notice. That's what we need. Yeah, I
Well,
mean, I'm really excited for anything you bring. I love to see this. These concept records or this trilogy turn into a movie, a graphic novel, an animated thing. I know these things all take funds and things, but your music and your words and your stories translate so well to other mediums, and just love to see you get whatever is coming to you in a positive sense.
thank
For
you.
the see this work represented properly.
Well, thank you. It's like it's when I set out to do this, I didn't know how people would really accept it. Like, my wife and I were afraid that I was going too far and it would go over people's heads. Like people wouldn't really grasp on to understanding of what I'm doing. And the feedback has been amazing. It's like we're getting great reviews. People are saying what you're saying, and they are getting it. They are getting that, this is not just laid out like where you could listen from, song 1 to song 10 and have the whole story laid out. It's more like a Tarantino movie, the beginnings and the middle And it's like that because I love those type of movies where it's like, what happened? Hold on, I gotta watch this. But that's the thing. I gotta watch this again. I gotta listen to this again. And then maybe take the track order and reverse it. You know, it's like start being like, well, I'm gonna start with this song and we're gonna move on that way. Because like I just left it open-ended, but I also really left it to where it's for interpretation. You know, it's like, but as long as you understand you're in somebody's head. You know, you for a moment you got to step out of the way you perceive things, and I've kind of made it to where you have to perceive them the way he does, and that was the part I was scared that people were not going to be able to do, is to perceive it the way he's perceiving it, because like that's hard to write. I threw away so many lyrics, so many ideas because I was like, that's not good enough. That's confusing. That's this, that's that. I'm not going to say the word dumbed down because I don't feel like I dumbed it down. I just feel like I just didn't want it to be too much. If you know what I'm saying, like sometimes you'll get something and it's a great thing, but it's so much at you once, you lose it. Like, I can't do this. This is just too much things to grab from.
Fair enough. All great points. I love to hear it. And thanks so much for sharing all that. I love to end these on a wild card question. We were talking about movies before we started this officially. I know you just saw Beetlejuice, got the awesome Beetlejuice shirt on. We're in spooky season. So what's your favorite Halloween time movie? You know, Halloween,
Halloween
you know,
time
horror
movie.
movie or scary movie?
I like to go old school. The Return of the Living Dead Part Two. I think that's a great, like, old school. Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead. You know, the remakes are great, good and everything, but you know you can't beat Bruce Campbell. You know, Pumpkinhead. Hold on. New Moon with the Puppet Masters. Puppet Master. Like you just watch the whole things. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Yeah, that is a
So
good
am I
question.
speaking my language? This is
But
all
I
my
mean, these are
jams.
movies I grew up with. You know, The Exorcist, of course. I love The Exorcist. Omen. Any you know, the original Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, the original movie. Like I like one and two and three, but then, you know, four and five they got more campy, and you know, but the original one. Any Michael Myers, any Halloween. Friday 13th, the originals. You know, just the original, just in the campfire. Critters. Like I love Critters, man. I think Critters are gonna bring Where Are the Krites? I love that movie. God, yeah, Halloween movies, man. It's like, but the one on top of it would be Return of the Living Dead 2, because that movie absolutely terrified the crap out of me when I was a kid. That movie gave me phobia for the rest of my life. I am now terrified of dead bodies. Like if I go to a funeral, I can't touch it. I freak out. Like it, my mom would, and I had to be like 6 or 7 when this movie came out, maybe younger, I don't know. But like she had an Afghan, and we go to the video store and you could get movies, you know, 5 movies, $5, 5 days, and she'd go and rent some movies for the weekend, and she would get popcorn stuff, and she'd get a scary movie, and we'd have to watch it, and Mama would hide under the Afghan and make me watch it and tell her what was happening. Like, so I had to do a play by play. She's under the blanket. What's going on? He's eating her brains again. You know, I'm having to give her play by play of what's going on. This terrified the absolute dog crap out of me and gave me a phobia for years. And there was one other television show that did the same thing. The CBS '80s version of the Twilight Zone. There was a episode. It was written by Stephen King called Grandma, and my grandma lived with me. And this grandma was a witch, and he had to be left at home with her. And like she ends up like being a demon and just like possesses the boy, takes his body over. And my grandmother, she bring me my tea, bring me my tea. And man, my grandma would say that crap to me and scare me to death. And I know I love my grandma, but she would do that to me and just like, Grandma, that's mean. It's like, you could tell this has traumatized me in a way. And I remember that show just absolutely. But Twilight Zone, the Twilight Zone movie, that's another good Halloween movie right there. Now that I said that, but yeah, those are two things that definitely left marks on me to this day. I went back, I have the full box set of that DVD, and I still to this day like, I'm watching it and just like still have that. And I know, and I think I've been on video sets and movie sets, and I know how it's done. And it's just the story and just that feeling of that child. Oh my God.
Crazy stuff. Mean grandmas and horror movies and new albums. Waylon Reavis, The Killer's Confession. Thank you so much, man. appreciate you for being you, and keep going and keep reaching for everything you want. And thank you so much for joining us today with Ghost Call. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one, man. Peace.